Hi guys, welcome back to Too Cool for Middle School. I am so excited about this video. This is kind of like my Mariah Carey swag haul that I did last summer. This is my Hamilton haul. I'm so excited. If you know me in real life or have been watching my videos for a while, you know that I have been a long time Hamil fan. I am obsessed with Hamilton, the musical. I think it was 2 years ago when I found the YouTube video of Lin-Manuel Miranda performing, you know, the original like Hamilton song that he wrote at the White House like spoken word event thing. And so originally that was just supposed to be like a concept album and he was just doing a couple of songs, but that song, just Alexander Hamilton, was so good. I was like blown away. Like, you know, you see him and you're like, this guy's gonna like rap about Alexander Hamilton, and it's so surprising, and then you're just so impressed. And that video went viral. People were just like, what? This is crazy. So out of that, he ended up writing an entire Broadway musical, and it's on Broadway right now. I have not seen it. Now it's in Chicago, I think, then it's gonna go to San Francisco and LA, and I looked up the tickets in LA, and already the cheapest thing I found was $600 a ticket. So I don't know if I'll ever get to see it live, but oh, it would be like my dream come true to see it live. But in the meantime, even if you don't ever get to see it live, there are a lot of different Hamilton things that you can enjoy. Oh, I should quickly add that I did a video maybe like this time last year about how to teach that unit of like Hamilton and Jefferson if you teach US history, and so I can link that down below, and I talk a lot about the soundtrack. We used to listen to that soundtrack all the time in class. There's a few songs with cuss words in them that you just have to kind of skip over, but my students loved it. This is such a cool way to teach US history, and it's gotten people all over the country, maybe all over the world, interested in the founding fathers again, and like realizing that they were real people and they had personalities, and their stories are really amazing. So I'm just obsessed. So anyway, let's start with the soundtrack. This is the first thing you need to get. I just downloaded it on my phone. Let's see here. This is the opening track. It's so good. Okay, there's a little bit of language right as it starts, but it's in context, you know, it just kind of makes sense. Love this line. The $10 founding father without a father got a lot farther by working a lot harder, by being a smarter, by being a self-starter. They placed him in charge of a trading charter. Anyway, I know like all the words to everything now because I listened to this. I mean, it's what, like 45 songs. It's 140 minutes, but I have listened to this entire album all the way through, I don't know, 50 times maybe. It's so good. And if you haven't listened to much Broadway musicals, like maybe if you only listen to a few songs but you haven't listened to the entire show, it's a really cool experience because it's almost like seeing the show. You can really picture it in your mind because all of the action and the plot is moved forward through the songs. And Hamilton is my official favorite. I love Lion King, I love Wicked, I love Les Mis. There's a lot of shows that I really like, but Hamilton just beats them all. Actually, last year when I was using this to teach Hamilton, one of my students that was like in some of my plays, he was like, this is all of your favorite things mixed together. This is US history and Broadway and hip hop all together. I was like, I know, this is just my ultimate favorite things. It's just so good. Okay, so anyway, the soundtrack is awesome. It's Quiet Uptown is one of my favorite songs. Room Where It Happened, I like that. You know what I really like about the soundtrack is all the songs that are in like the cabinet meetings. They're like rap battles about policy, like, you know, whether or not to have the states pay off the debt or like the federal government to pay off the debt, like things that are so boring when you try and teach them in class, but then the way that he just gives voice to Hamilton and Jefferson and even like Adams and George Washington, and the way that they talk about these like pretty boring concepts is so good. So amazing. Ooh, That Would Be Enough. I love that song. Non-stop, I like that one. Oh, there's just so many good songs, and every time you listen to this soundtrack, it's just full of layers of like historical facts and just like witty lyrics and kind of references to kind of old school rap. Like there's just so much in this. You can listen to it a million times and still not be bored. Another thing that I really like that he does in the song Burn and in a couple of the other songs too is the way that he handles like things that we don't have documentation of. So as a historian, this is really interesting to me, like the way that he goes about dealing with that issue, because a lot of times you hit a wall in your research and you've got to figure out like usually it's just like this gaping hole that you can't ignore, but you got to figure out something to do with it. So he writes from like Eliza's perspective about how she burned the letters, about her reaction to Hamilton's affair, the Reynolds papers and all that. And this is kind of speculation on Lin-Manuel Miranda's part, and then Ron Chernow part, which we'll get to in a second. But the way that he handles that, like, I really respect as a historian. I thought that was a creative way to go about it, a realistic way to go about it, and it moved the story forward without like leaving any holes. So definitely download the soundtrack. And then I would also suggest, in order to understand the soundtrack even more, PBS does these episodes of great performances, and they did an episode on Hamilton. I recorded it and I've watched it multiple times, actually. I couldn't even watch it just once because I wanted to go back and like glean even more information. So it's pretty much a masterclass in songwriting and in historical research and in acting. The actors and singers that he has in this musical are just mind-blowingly amazing, and he does a really interesting thing with his casting. All of them are people of color, so most of the actors are black. He's Puerto Rican, Eliza is half Chinese, and so they look a little bit different than you normally picture the founding fathers. But that's musical theater, right? Everything is fake. You expect for things to not be realistic, but then once you are immersed in the theater, everything comes to life. And so it was a very strategic move on his part to put the, Thomas Jefferson has like an afro, and George Washington is black. And so the kind of strange thing about it is that they're also talking about slavery and kind of deriding each other for having slaves. And so it's like these black characters doing that. So it's a little bit different, but I really love how he cast the musical. And again, that great performances episode on PBS, if you can find it like on their website or something, gives you kind of a peek into how they developed everything, and it's really, really good. And then he also did a mixtape, and it's like the gift that keeps on giving, because I downloaded it a couple weeks ago and only like 4 songs were released. And then they just keep on releasing like a few songs at a time until I have the whole album. So right now I have 7 songs. One of my favorites right now is the Ashanti and Ja Rule's version of Helpless. The Roots and Busta Rhymes version of My Shot is really good. And the people that he got on this album, I mean, he got the Roots, he got Nas, he got Ja Rule, Busta Rhymes, Usher. Like, it kind of legitimizes what an amazing lyricist Lin-Manuel Miranda is and how incredible his show is, because all these like old school rappers went to his show and they were like, dang, this is amazing. This is so, so good. And in that great performances episode, you'll see how Lin-Manuel Miranda says that as he was growing up, like in the 90s in New York, like this is who he listened to. These were his influences. And he blended that with Broadway and with US history. Like, how amazing is that? So this mixtape is like legit. Couple songs that I like don't love that I thought I would. Satisfied, which is one of my favorite songs, but Sia, Miguel, and Queen Latifah do it, and I love all of them, but Sia just like glottal strokes the heck out of this song, and it irritates me. Like, I don't even listen to it anymore. Kelly Clarkson does It's Quiet Uptown, and that's by far one of my favorite songs, and I love Kelly Clarkson, but she just, I don't know, didn't do that great of a job on it. I mean, this mixtape kind of shows like how hard it is to cover Broadway songs. Like, the actors in the real show do such a good job that pop singers, even amazing pop singers, have a really tough time with it. So some of the better songs are the ones that aren't really trying to be a remake. So like, probably my favorite one on the album right now is Kanan does he just takes a sample like from that one line where it goes like, immigrants, we get the job done, and he just uses that sample and then writes a whole new song off of it. A lot of it's in Spanish. He's got a bunch of people featured on it. I think that's my favorite song right now, and it's just like totally different and new, and it's really cool. So I highly recommend the mixtape. That one's really good album. Okay, I've got a couple other things to show you. This is great. This is the book that started it all. So Lin-Manuel Miranda, his name is so long, and I never want to say like Lin-Manuel, it's too informal. I gotta say the whole thing. So anyway, Lin-Manuel Miranda was on vacation, and he was reading this. Like, who reads this on vacation? Maybe me, but me and him. And as he was reading the story of Alexander Hamilton, he was realizing like, this guy has like a hip hop story. Like, he's like Tupac or something. Like, he started as an orphan. Like, his parents ended up dying, and his dad left him, and he started in the Caribbean, which is super interesting to me because he lived in St. Croix, and I study the Virgin Islands, and Rothschild Francis was from there, and actually mentions Alexander Hamilton a few times in some of the documents that I've read. And then he moves to New York and goes to college, and he's like only 19 years old, and he just comes up from the bottom, and it's just crazy. I mean, this much research on Alexander Hamilton and on his story. And you know, if you watched the Got Milk commercials in the 90s with the guy at the peanut butter sandwich, like that he got shot by Burr, right? So we all know that already. So you know the end of the story, but the way that the situation like gets to that is just crazy. So the kind of funny thing about this is that I would not have read it if Lin-Manuel Miranda hadn't suggested it, because it's published by like Penguin Publishers. This guy's not a historian, he's like a journalist, and so if you are a history major, like a history grad student, they always tell you like, don't read Barnes and Noble history. Like, they tell you, you know, you have to read things published by an academic press and like reviewed by other scholars. So I wouldn't have picked this up, but it's very good. If you look at the notes in the back, it's very well researched, it's incredibly well written. So, you know, this just kind of like makes me seem really uppity and like I'm missing out on some really good history just because I'm too stuck up to read it. So this is definitely amazing. I have not finished the whole thing. It is about 700 pages, but I cannot wait. And as you read through it, some of the lines in the musical start to make more sense too. Like, you see direct references to some of the things in the book. I've done videos before on like history books that you'll actually like, and this is one of them. It might take you forever to read, but it's really interesting. Another thing that I just had to get is the Hamilton calendar for 2017. I'm totally gonna put this in my classroom, and I'm really hoping that I get to teach history again next year. So I'm having like withdrawals from history, because this time last year I was teaching US history and I was still getting my master's in history, and this year I'm done with my master's and I'm only teaching English, and so I just feel like history's been like ripped away from me. And so Hamilton kind of fills the void. Like, I love reading this book and listening to the soundtrack and like discussing Hamilton, because it kind of fills that void for me. So I had to get this calendar. I think I'm gonna get one for my friend too that teaches US history. And every page has one of the original actors and then like lines from their songs. I always check July whenever I pick up a calendar, because that's my birthday month. Ooh, and I get Angelica. We hold these truths to be self-evident, that all men are created equal. So yeah, she's got some cool lines in the musical. So I am obsessed with this, and I can't wait to put it in my classroom in January. And I got the calendar and then the next two items on the Hamilton website. It's like hamiltonmusical.com or something. And actually, I also just found out that they're selling a new shirt that says "History Has Its Eyes on You," which is one of the songs. And $10 of every shirt sold is going to the Gilder Lehrman Institute, which offers really great curriculum. I've actually used quite a bit of it before, and they're trying to offer like students really reduced tickets. I think just a Hamilton, so $10 to see the show. And so they do some really amazing like history work. So I kind of want to get that t-shirt too, but I did get this t-shirt already. It's so cool. It's red and it says, "Just like my country, young, scrappy, and hungry," and Alexander Hamilton on the bottom. And then on the back it also says Hamilton, an American musical. This is a size small, and I think it's like unisex, so small worked for me. It's a little bit baggy, it's nice and thin and soft. The only thing about this shirt is that I was gonna wear it the day after the election. I was like all excited. And then the day after the election, I was really, really sad. And I wore all black for a week because I was really sad. So I haven't even worn this yet. It's been like a process to like get me to a place where I feel positive enough to wear this. So I'm gonna wear it tomorrow. We're going back to school tomorrow after Thanksgiving break. And I'm gonna wear it. I'm getting to a better place. I feel like it's kind of interesting that like this musical came out and people took a little more interest in history, and then during this election people have taken way more interest in politics than they have just kind of in recent years. And so as a historian, I've been looking at this whole situation, trying to imagine 100 years from now how people will look at this, and it has brought to the forefront so many issues, racial issues like xenophobia, sexism, the electoral college, experience, like does that matter, the voices of rural Americans versus urban Americans. And that is a debate that has been going on since Alexander Hamilton and Thomas Jefferson. Jefferson wanted the United States to just be a big old farm and just be very, like, not so much nationalistic, but just like inward focused, like just focused on ourselves. Alexander Hamilton wanted to be a business leader in the world and make all these trade deals. And so we're kind of seeing these same issues come up over and over and over again. And I'm seeing a lot of, as a historian, this is just kind of like your blessing and your curse, that you always see things in patterns, and you almost don't see like people as people anymore. Like you just see them as like historical subjects, so that can be a little bit weird. And I kind of feel like Hamilton has been there for me to like get me through it. Like the day after the election, I listened to It's Quiet Uptown like on repeat over and over and over again. And it was just kind of like my comfort. And I think all of us have had to confront things about ourselves and confront things about our beliefs and maybe some of the things that we always thought were true, and maybe we need to reconsider those things, and what are the commonalities that we have with all Americans, and then what are our differences, and how do we deal with those things. So I think there are good things that are going to come out of this as well. But I am in 100% opposition to the decision, just putting that out there. So, even Hamilton has helped me remember that these men that we sometimes like herald as so amazing, they were super flawed too. Hamilton was super flawed. He had an affair, and he was really brash, and sometimes he didn't work well with people, but he was brilliant. Like that matters to me. And we had leaders who had slaves, and they were just really, really flawed, yet they were good leaders. And so that's a little bit hard to reconcile, like in your mind. I really do think that they were different though, like they were brilliant. But that's kind of another question, like do character flaws cancel out any of your leadership skills? I don't know. So anyway, I just feel like this is a very relevant musical to have come out right now. And I know they're in the news and everything with the whole like Mike Pence thing and all that, and whatever. This is what art is for. It questions the establishment, it questions politics. It's always a commentary on our society, and these are actors, they're not running for public office or in public office, so that's what they do. Okay, anyway, the very, very last thing that I have to show you is my favorite. From the website, I also ordered the vocal selections to Hamilton, and this is like one of my most prized possessions right now. I do have a piano, but it's actually at my in-laws' house right now because we can't fit it in our little apartment. So we went over there for Thanksgiving, and whenever I go over there I bring sheet music to play, so I brought this. It has not every single song, but maybe like 20 or 25 songs, because some of them are not that like singable, so these are all really the singable ones. My favorite song to play is Dear Theodosia. Let me go to that one. page 106 right here, Dear Theodosia. This is kind of a duet between Aaron Burr and Alexander Hamilton, although they're not like singing to each other, but it's kind of an easier one to play, and it's a beautiful one to sing. And as I was playing it, I was literally holding Jensen in one hand, playing the chords with my other, and singing this song. And it's about when both of them have a child for the first time, and they're just sitting there singing to their firstborn child and thinking about how much they love their kid, and you know, how they want this nation to be a place that their child can grow up happy and successful. And isn't that what all of us want? Like, that's what everybody voted to do. They thought that they were casting a vote to make this nation the best place possible for their children to grow up happy and successful. And I love how through this whole musical, Lin-Manuel Miranda finds the commonalities between Burr and Hamilton, because, spoiler alert, Burr kills Hamilton in a duel at the end. But they were both orphans, they both came up at the same time, they were both lawyers. They had so much in common. They just kind of, in the end, went about things really differently. But I feel like this is like a centerpiece of the musical, and something that we can all learn a lot from. I love how he writes, "You will come of age with our young nation. We'll bleed and fight for you. We'll make it right for you. If we lay a strong enough foundation, we'll pass it on to you. We'll give the world to you, and you'll blow us all away. Someday, someday." And it's such a good song and such a good soundtrack. Burn is really another fun one to sing. History Has Its Eyes on You, Satisfied, Wait for It. I love Wait for It. Helpless, One Last Time is really fun to sing. That Would Be Enough. Oh gosh, I love that song so much. So like, I will use this for the rest of my life. I feel like I'm just going to be playing my way through it. The music is really complicated, hard to sing. All musical theater music is. So if you want to improve like your piano skills or your vocal skills, I always suggest getting some musical theater songs, because even if you're not currently taking lessons or anything, just by singing through musical theater songs, you will improve your diction, you'll improve your performance, like the performance aspect of telling a story. It's always really difficult to sing, so you'll improve your singing. When I taught voice lessons and piano lessons, I used a lot of musical theater, and all teachers do, just because it does help you to learn and to grow in so many areas. So if you're at all interested in singing and playing the piano, definitely get the Hamilton songbook. These would also make like really good gifts for people who are Hamil fans. So yes, I am just totally enjoying every single thing that I've gotten in my Hamilton swag collection. So I would love to know from you, what is your favorite song from the Hamilton soundtrack? Mine changes like from day to day, but at the moment it's Dear Theodosia. That song is just really, really special to me, especially with my son. So I would love to know your current favorite as well. Leave that in the comments below. And thank you so much for watching. This video it just holds such a special place in my heart. All of this Hamilton stuff, it's just been really, really cool for me to have. So I think I'm gonna go no, I can't sing, I don't have my piano, but I think I'm gonna go read actually more of the book, because the baby's taking a nap. It's kind of like a gloomy, cloudy day today. I've got one more day before Thanksgiving break ends, so I think this is a really good reading time. So anyway, thank you again for watching, and have a wonderful day.